Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 30 of the Rock and Roll Beer Guy podcast. This podcast is brought to you by Gamefly. If you go to rockandrollbeerguy.com, you'll see a link there. If you click it, you'll get a free 30-day trial where you get one game at a time. If you're not familiar with the service, Gamefly will send you a game to your house from a list of over 8,000 plus titles for any console that you're using. I'm using it right now, actually, and playing Horizon Zero Dawn for the PS4. This podcast is also brought to you by Phantom Carriage Brewery. Go check out my good friends at Phantom Carriage Brewing. They're located in Carson, California. It's a horror movie-themed brewery and brewpub. They have some of the best barbecue in town, and they make some really great sour wild beers. I'm sure you've heard me talk about them before on the podcast. And now if you mention the podcast at the bar, you'll get 10% off your bill. So if you're in a neighborhood, stop by, tell them I sent you, and try the brisket sandwich. It's amazing. In this episode, I talked to Phil Sgrosso. He does guitar and vocals in the band Poison Headache, and was formerly of the bands As I Lay Dying and Wovenwar. I want to apologize for some of the quality on this episode. I had just gotten this new gear, and I was trying to figure out the levels. Not to mention there was this weird static in my headset, which was very distracting. I kept switching my voice, trying to speak over it, and I apologize. It's really weird. But I got a hang on my equipment now, and things moving forward should be smooth. Thanks again for listening. Please don't forget to share on social media. Please go to iTunes and leave a review. Those are invaluable for us. They really make a difference. I want to thank you guys for your continued support. I really didn't think I'd get to episode 30 when I first started doing this. But with each episode, it seems that more and more people are listening, and the guest list keeps growing, so I'm going to keep doing this. And I really appreciate you guys supporting me. I hope you enjoy this one. Cheers.
What's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. I had this little weird headset thing, so I gotta aim the mic into my mouth.
Put the mic just in your mouth.
Inside of it.
That's how they work. Yeah.
Are you using a iPhone headset right now?
I am old school and I have the phone to my ear.
Oh, wow. Okay. Classy.
I don't like that. But I haven't gotten around to getting one of the earbud microphone things. Or USB, or what's it called? Bluetooth. Maybe I can look into one of those things in the future.
Yeah, you got to do them so they don't look weird, though. You got to get they have one that hides underneath or on your neck or something. I don't know.
The thing is, when you don't know that someone is wearing one of those, you start talking to them, and they're on the phone, So you got to make it somewhat obvious. So, you don't want to confuse anyone that, you're not on the phone when you are.
Well, I do that all the time to people anyway. Even if I'm not wearing my Bluetooth. Like, they'll come up to me and start talking to me, and I'm just like, what? I'm sorry, I can't. What?
Sorry, I'm just thinking about something else.
700 other things. I'm sorry.
Exactly. Leave me alone, please.
Oh, man. So, how you been, man? You doing good?
I'm good. Everything's good. Been busy. Trying to relax a little bit more after South Mexico and South America. I just got back a couple weeks ago. A lot of flights, not a lot of sleep, but overall a great time. So now that I'm home, just kind of relaxing, but still keeping busy.
Cool. And for those that are listening that aren't aware, you are the owner of 440 Management?
Yeah, 440 artist management, and we're adding production stuff to that as well. My partner, Matt Rosenblum, and I started doing it early this year, and it's been keeping us very busy. And so far, we're pretty happy with how everything's going.
And when you say production, you mean like producing records or stage production?
Kind of venue production stuff. Lately, what Matt has been working on is there's a new venue in Huntington. it's called Sea Legs, and he is the production manager, and he basically put the whole team together of building this outdoor stage, all the lighting, the PA, and he's just operating that while he's off the road. So that's been keeping him busy. And then since I haven't been, none of my bands have been active this year, I've been tour managing Animals as leaders and working with them on, the numerous other tasks that come into
managing a band.
And so we're kind of easing into a lot of stuff with them, but it's, a lot of the day-to-day logistics and stuff like that is what I've been spending most of my time on.
Okay. Well, I guess this is as good a time as any. Do a little intro. Welcome, everyone, to the Rock and Roll Beer Guy podcast. I'm here with Phil. Dude, I never know how to say your last name right. Is it Sgrosso or just is it S silent?
The S is there. It's the G. It is like a C. So think of it like that.
Sgrosso?
Sgrosso. I guess in Italy it's probably, I think Sgrosso, or, the O might be a little silent at the end, but Sgrosso, just straight up. Everyone gets it wrong, and it's totally normal to me now that no one will ever get it right.
Sgrosso.
Sgrosso.
Are you Italian?
It's an Italian last name, but I'm actually half Mexican. So my mother's full Mexican. My dad is half Italian. So, but I guess I look Italian mostly. I mean, it's...
You don't look Mexican.
Yeah, I'm just like, a decent mix of both. But yeah, the Italian last name would make people believe that I am more Italian.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, they look at me and they think I'm Mexican. They don't even know the European heritage there.
Yeah. It's misleading.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I delve a little bit into that, trying to figure out where we were from and everything. And apparently we're from a part of Spain up in the northeast where the Celts invaded.
No.
And so my family is a product of Celtic blood raping Spaniards from that area.
Okay.
Yeah. So that would explain a lot of my violent tendencies.
Yeah, your attraction to metal and, dark, evil forces. Yeah, gotcha.
And drinking, lots of drinking.
Yeah. That's the Celtic side.
Right. So, for those that are listening that aren't familiar as well, you were in As I Lay Dying, you were in Wovenwar, and lately Poison Headache. You were also in Saosin.
Yeah.
And Nails.
And a little small stretch with Nails, but yeah, I mean, the past 13 years, majority of it was spent with As I Lay Dying, from 2003 to 2013. And then, just kind of everything else after that. And just trying to, play guitar, just trying to do, what I've been doing. I started taking lessons when I was 10, Jesus. And, I was pretty fortunate when I did join As I Lay Dying. I was right out of high school. So I've, just always wanted to be in a band. I always wanted to be on the road and travel, and I'm very fortunate that I'm still able to do that, whether it's in a band or, focusing on tour managing and helping other bands. It's always, been a passion of mine.
True. I was doing some deep diving, and I found that you played with Slipknot at some point.
I did, yeah. It was, when was that? Mayhem 2012. We shared the same management with them at the time, and it was like, I don't know, Friday or Saturday, and get a phone call from management. It's like, hey, Jim's appendix burst this week, and he can't start the tour. The tour was starting the following week on that Friday, but, being that it's Slipknot, they do rehearsals, several days prior. So it's like first rehearsals Monday, and it was... I got asked to do 10 songs, and then Nick, my guitar player from As I Lay Dying, got asked to do the other 10 songs. And it was like, you have, 2-3 days to learn 10 songs each. And then do rehearsals. And it's like, you can't as stressful and hectic as that was, because we had As Lay Dying stuff to focus on, starting the doing our own set list and stuff, but you don't turn down that opportunity. So it was like, we'll do it. We'll do whatever it takes, and spend the next, 2 days just grinding away, learning, all the Slipknot songs. So it was a really fun experience, and, as stressful as it was totally worth it.
That's awesome, man. I can imagine. I mean, just even remembering your own songs on top of all these new songs, it's got to be rough,
Yeah, it's, you're playing, about 20 plus songs from 2 different bands, and, throughout the day. And, but when you're, a guitar player, that's your number one passion. It's like, well, hell yeah, I'm going to do it. Like,
of course.
Of course. And, so it was a great opportunity, and all those guys were awesome. And we didn't, perform, like, we didn't go out on stage. Everyone's like, well, what mask did you wear? What did you do? I was like, no. We were back behind the production because, which might be strange to a lot of people, but, Slipknot, they don't play to a click track, or at least back then, they didn't play to a click track with Joey, and they don't do tracks, like rhythm guitar tracks. So they like having another human element there playing guitar. So that's why they wanted us there. And it was just, we just chilled in the back, just, drank a few beers, and, and just kind of watched the madness. Yeah, just watched the madness from behind the set carts. And it was, it took me we played for 2 weeks back there, and it took me like the whole first week to remember when the pyro was going off, like the big blasts were going off, like right over us. And I would I'd jump every time, just freaked out. But no, that was definitely, a great experience.
Very cool. And you said you did a brief stint with Nails. You were playing second guitar. I know between you and Leon, you guys were splitting those duties until recently. They made Leon like an official member.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it was cool. Like, just through doing the Poison Headache record with Taylor, him doing the drums and engineering the drums and then mixing it. And just getting, since I produced it, just kind of working closely with him on everything, and just kind of, we didn't know each other before then. And then when they were doing some shows, and I guess their previous guitar player he had left, I got the call, and I was like, let me see my schedule. At that time, I wasn't doing anything with Saosin yet, but I had just gotten the thumbs up that I was going to be doing the rest of the touring with them throughout the year. So it was like, and I was still doing Wovenwar at the time. I was doing a Wovenwar album.
Christ,
so learning Saosin songs, learning Nails songs, recording, and,
Poison Headache.
producing it. And then, just all these bands all at once. And it was the busiest I've ever been, but it was very rewarding at the end of the day, just with everything I was doing, just being involved with music at that point. And, bands that I really enjoyed, like Saosin, for many years prior. And then once Nails came out, I was just, just a fan of the band. So getting, the opportunity to go play some of those songs with those guys was awesome. And, real good time. Just did like 2 festivals and 4 dates in Cali. So, yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I saw you guys when you played with them at the Roxy, right?
That's right. Yeah, Roxy. And it's like, I didn't have a set list, so I had to keep, like, some songs you just don't know. You're not familiar with every song title. I'm like, wait, what song is this? What riff are we going into? I don't have a set list, so I had to keep going back and looking at my phone. I'm like, oh yeah, that's okay. That's what we're doing. And the other guys, obviously, they know their songs better than me, but I was just like, kind of frantic, just like, all right, like, I was a little stressed, and LA can kind of do that to you anyway, since being the market it is.
For sure. But that was a big show too. I remember it was a packed house. It was good.
It's really cool, like, to get back and see just crowds that are as rowdy as that. I guess it'd been a while from doing like Wovenwar stuff, it's just not as intense, obviously. And so getting back and feeling that energy in the room was, incredible. It was, and those Nails songs are just, so much fun to play too. So, that was a great time.
What was the biggest venue you've ever played? Because As I Lay Dying got pretty big, so I'm wondering, did you get to stadiums at all, or?
Stadiums, I'm trying to think like Europe. You do festivals, you do a big old field somewhere. I mean, you do it in the States, obviously, but I'd say like Europe. I mean, when you do Wacken, that's like, I hope I'm not getting the number off, but 60,000 people or something. I would say, which is, I saw Metallica last week in San Diego at Petco Stadium, and I think they said it was 40,000 sold out. So if you're in like a big open air field and it's like, oh, there's 60,000 people out here, you're like, that's like insane.
That's bananas, dude. Like, what's the point? Like, for the guys in the back, like, what are you watching?
I mean, I don't know.
I mean, it's awesome, but like, whoa.
It's crazy, especially, I always tell people, it's like, you have to go. I tell Americans, go to a festival in Europe, go to Wacken and just experience that, because, I mean, they really live for metal in Europe. And, you just see a lot of just craziness. They're crazy, like party animals, and they just love, that culture of going to these heavy metal concerts and camping out every summer, passed out in the field somewhere. A lot of times you're walking through these festivals and you're just like, that dude's passed out drunk. That dude, like, you're just like a minefield. You're just kind of like navigating around them. It was like that. I was at Hellfest last week, and I was just like, this is just insane. And in the U.S., I mean, I've been to like Coachella and festivals like that, but I don't think anything is on the same level as how it is out in Europe, in Germany, especially.
Yeah, man. I spent some time out there, and it's a whole different lifestyle overall. Not just concert goers, but pretty much everything.
Yeah, and it's like metal bars and rock bars. Like there's just a lot more of them out there. You can go and you listen to Iron Maiden and Metallica all night, and Crowbar or something. It's like in the U.S. it's not as common, and it's I mean, certain places, I guess you go to like St. Vitus out in Brooklyn, and you have these spots here and there, but they're just fewer and far between than out in Europe.
Yeah, man. When I went to Spain, I went to this tiny little bar, and it was one strobe light flashing, and it was blasting Cannibal Corpse, and I'm just like, what the fuck? I walk in there, and they had absinthe. Like, I asked them, and they had to pull it out from the back, but I took some absinthe out there, and holy shit, dude.
Absinthe, Cannibal Corpse, strobe light.
Oh my god, my brain just teleported to another place. I ended up roaming the streets till like 7 a.m. with strangers. It was great. Yeah, I went out there and just partied for like 2 weeks straight for no reason. It was a family trip, but I ended up just staying, So anyway, yes, Europe's a crazy place. And your biggest venue was there, you would say? 60,000?
So. I mean, yeah, somewhere in Germany, either it was Wacken or something like that, for sure.
Like, how does that even feel? Like, do you, at that moment, I guess you don't really feel all of it. It's like aftermath, right?
I mean, you just, you don't focus. It looks like a big blur, essentially. It's just like, oh, there's like
right,
tons of people here, but you just, I guess I always just focused on like playing and on the show and performing. I would generally try to not, psych myself out like, oh my god, there's so many people here, and just make me more nervous. But
right.
just focus on my playing. Have a beer, 2 or more before the show to help just calm the nerves and relax. And that's always the problem. And I talked to so many guitar players throughout the years of why, like, having a couple drinks before, you think less. And I tend to overthink a lot. And so that's usually when I start messing up more and more. And I'm like, oh, I just messed up that one part. And as I'm thinking about that previous part, like, oh, I just messed up again because I wasn't even focused. And it's just this whirlwind. And it's like, man, like, and you start beating yourself down. But it's like, if you can, go out and feel a little bit more loose and relaxed, and you just have fun. That's the ultimate point. I might have messed up a little note here or there, but ultimately with the whole band going, no one's really hearing it and picking you apart as much as I, pick myself apart, I guess. So,
sure.
But
yeah, there's definitely a scale there for pre-show beers, like, I think it correlates with the size of the audience too. Like, if it's nobody's there, you probably drink more, and then if there's a good amount of people, you drink less, and then if there's a lot of people, you drink more.
One drink per 10,000 people out there. Yeah, it's just whatever. Some guys, can't even have one drink. I know a lot of like drummers who can't, have a drink at all, and but for some reason, like guitar players, it's like, look at a guy, look at Adam D, or like the In Flames guys, and it's like, yeah, like we, have a good amount of drinks, and we're, ready to go once we hit the stage.
Sure. I mean, in defense of Adam, because I know a lot of people always say that he's like, he has a reputation for being a drinker, so a lot of times he doesn't drink before a show. He drinks like right before he gets on stage. Like right on the side stage. That's when he starts pounding a beer or two. Yeah.
He loves his IPAs.
Yeah, dude.
So,
yeah.
Which I can't do.
You say you don't. I've talked to you before about it. I think you told me it like tastes like soap or something to you.
Just piney. I mean, I know it all depends on the hops, and I've they're like Racer 5.
Mm-hmm.
That's an IPA, correct? It's not just a pale ale.
Yeah, it's an IPA.
Yeah, see, like that is smooth and perfect to me, and it's not offensive in any way. But like a nice IPA here and there, I like. But I can't do like a whole night of drinking IPAs. It's too much.
No, I hear you. Even for me, and I love them. I love every kind, but I'll have 2 or 3, and then I want a Pilsner. Or something like that, or lager, a nice, clean lager. Or if I'm going crazy, then I'll go Imperial Stout, but that depends on the night.
Yeah, I mean, I really like stout. So if I'm traveling somewhere, especially Europe, the UK, like I mean US as well, I guess. I'll my eyes will be drawn more towards like a stout on draft than anything else. Just for some reason, I guess I'm more into just the darker beers right now.
Cool. Have you are you big into like the barrel aged stuff too, or just the regular Imperial Stout or porter?
Just the barrel aged stouts, or I mean, all whatever various forms of barrel aged drinks. Like, I kind of don't like smoky. Okay. Barrel oaky flavor stuff, but if it's subtle, then yeah, but not when it's overbearing. I mean, I'm pretty simple. I like Pilsners. I like very light, drinkable, and you can just have a lot of them. Low alcohol level. They're you're not getting like super messed up super quick. So I'm totally okay with Miller Lite all day. And a lot of people will, they hate on Miller Lite and all the American piss beer and stuff like that. But it's just refreshing for me. And, but I like mixing it up too. And I like sours. I don't have like a ton of knowledge of all of them, but I like intriguing flavors, but I can't just like drink that all night either.
Yeah, you can't pound a bunch of sour beer. It'll mess up your stomach.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I get a bunch of heartburn and like acid reflux. Like, oh god.
Yeah, it's not meant to be this. Just drink it all night. So you kind of respect it more because it's just a little bit at a time.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. And I think it's starting to come back. Like we need more Pilsners because we like to drink a lot, and we can't drink a lot of sour, and we can't drink a lot of heavy duty, like super adjunct heavy chocolate cinnamon stout, you know, like
Right? Yeah.
you can't have a bunch of those, and you can't have a bunch of 8% IPAs because then you're wasted, you know, like.
And so much sugar and like, yeah, it messes up your stomach. So just a light, simple, nice flavor. That's what I generally go for.
I think it's because we're getting old, man. Our stomachs can't handle it.
Yeah, we're just falling apart. Just, yeah. So I think, that stuff, less is more.
That's true. Yeah. When I was younger, I would do stupid shit like just, hey, let's chug this entire 750 of this Imperial Stout that's aged in bourbon barrels. I can't do that
painful
shit anymore. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Do you know any brands that stick out for you in terms of stouts that you like?
Try to think
breweries, not brands. That makes it sound so corporate, but yeah, breweries.
Yeah. Yeah. What's your favorite beer brand? I'm trying to think. Was it Mother Earth? I mean, being from San Diego, they had a bunch of. They did a seasonal stout. I forgot what.
Peanut butter stout?
No, not that. I don't mind that. I can't drink a lot of that. Mm-hmm. It was a combination of that. And it was like for the holiday. I think it was for like around Christmas time and stuff. So when it was getting pretty cold,
some kind of spice, like cinnamon or nutmeg or something.
It kind of had like a light vanilla. And I know like most beer snobs would be like, what are you talking about? Like that's, not real beer, but it was, very strong flavor, in terms of stout, but the, vanilla and all that was like pretty subtle, and it was delicious. And I just can't remember what the name was. And I think they discontinued that. It was just a seasonal thing. And I just remember that being one of my favorite beers I've had in a long time.
Nice. Well, okay. So you started playing in a band when you were 17. So were you drinking at 17?
I started playing in a band when I was much younger than that. But I guess I was doing high school bands and all that stuff, and middle school. I mean, I started, it was 10 when I started taking lessons, and I got my first electric in 6th grade. And the drummer of Poison Headache, we've been best friends since we met. And so it was Christmas, I got my first amp and electric guitar, and he got his first drum set. And I went over to his house Christmas Day, and we had our first jam. And it was Smells Like Teen Spirit. That's the song that got me even into playing guitar. But seeing that music video, but I was just like so excited that now like we can do a band. And from that point on, I was doing numerous other bands, and my brother played in bands, and so it wasn't until senior year it was getting a little more serious with the band, and that's how we were playing shows with As I Lay Dying and like Norma Jean, Under Oath, and then that band ended, and I joined As I Lay Dying a week later.
Wow! So
it all worked out somewhat at that time, but I wasn't drinking. I didn't drink in high school at all. It wasn't until like the day after high school that I like went to a party and like a kegger or something and drank and got drunk and was around a bunch of high schoolers being, an idiot and stuff like that. But I never really did it in high school. I was like starting to smoke weed and stuff, and I've learned that that's not something that I wish to really do. It doesn't really work with my brain, so I got that for the most part out of my system.
So smoking weed doesn't work for you?
Not really. I just like as we were talking about with alcohol, you just try all these things, and see what works for you, see what doesn't, and it was too much for my brain, and it just kind of shuts me down, and I just feel out of control. And I was like, this is not something I want to do anymore, no matter how, more popular it is, especially in, California, and it's just everywhere, and it's so more easily available. It's just not it's just not really so much my thing anymore. So I'm okay without it.
Sure, man. It's not meant for everybody. Like a lot of people in the weed culture, they're like, yeah, it's good for everyone. It's like, no, not really. Not really.
No. And I don't get how some people can, I mean, we're all wired differently. But some people who just, I mean, I went through my phase of, wake and bake and just all day. It's like, oh, I got to be high all day, and just go play music and, I'm living the dream. But it just really lost its appeal after a while, and I just felt, my brain's turning to mush, and I kind of want to have try to be as sharp as I can and as prepared for things when I can. So I was like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. There's people that operate even better on it. I'm not one of those people. I gotta really control myself if I'm ever doing it, because a lot of times I like to do it right before bed, because it actually does help me with my pain that I have from my car accidents and years of nonsense that I've done to my body. But
for sure,
I do it just right before bed. I'll have an edible or something and go to sleep, and it's beautiful.
I know a lot of people, that's the only reason, that they didn't smoke weed when they were younger, but it does help them sleep. And it totally makes sense in that sense, because then it's it's like your sleeping medication essentially.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, I've tried to work on it, and it just doesn't. I'm not as productive,
No, I've written like a lot of back in As the Dying days. I mean, I'm trying to think of my other bands. Like I've written like I got to get super baked and write, and some of my like more metal, faster stuff was like after I had been I had smoked, and I was like, that's funny how it worked out. But I wasn't writing any like slower, doomy stuff. It's like, no, I'm like writing like
thrash.
Faster. Yeah, I'm like more thrashier stuff. I think like The Powerless Rise was the album. Like most of the songs off that, I was like kind of in like a pothead phase, and that I looking back on that album, I'm like, that's like our like most aggressive album, I'd say.
For sure. Well, that's good, man. I mean, and I know you took a break from drinking too not too long ago. You had a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, I think it's everyone could probably benefit if they kind of find themselves maybe doing a little too excessively, to just take some time off and realize that you get the best sleep of your life when you're sober, and you're just not as exhausted from lack of sleep, throughout the day. So yeah, it's definitely something very, very good to do. And then, I've kind of eased back in, and, I try to still chill out, and, realize that, hey, the next day I've got to like be focused and, try to have my mind be as sharp as possible. So I don't want to just be hungover and feel like crap like maybe I used to, when it was, you're just touring all the time, and it's like every night it's just a party and all, you're just everyone's just going out to the bar, everyone's getting bottles of booze on their rider, and it's just like free for all. And then you can sleep until 4 p.m. And get up and just do it all over again. Yeah, and that's, as we get older, you realize those it's just, it might catch up to you. I mean, I still see guys still going for it, and I guess, try to find whatever balance you can to try to stay healthy, whether you go to the gym or you do some sort of martial arts or just something to be active as well is always a plus.
For sure. I think it's necessary, man. Like, I get a lot of exercise walking around with my job. I go out and walk around blocks, going to restaurants and bars and stuff. So
yeah.
Just to meet with the managers. And at first, when I first got the job like 6 years ago, every bar I'd go to, I would have a drink,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is cool, man. And I'd have a drink with everybody. But now I was like, nah, I can't drink till after 5 o'clock. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's smarter. I mean, when your job is in like the beer industry, it's like, I mean, what you have to create some sort of limits, some, boundaries of like, or are you going to be drinking all day,
Right. My friends don't get that. Like, as I'm getting older, it's like I'm getting more lame because I don't hang out as often. It's like Like, dude, I can't. I've been partying. I've been drinking beer all week. I'm good. I'm going to bed.
Yeah, I got to take tonight off.
Yeah, exactly. And it usually ends up being like a weekend because I'm out every, Monday through Friday for work. So
yeah, I hate going out on weekends. It's just there's too many people, and
it's chaotic.
I don't like waiting. I know no one likes waiting, but like for something as dumb as just waiting to get one drink at a bar, and you have to wait like 20 minutes, and it's just it's just like, I don't like it. I like going to like a chill dive bar like on a Monday or Tuesday and like
right.
getting my Miller Lights and just chilling. So, but on tour, sometimes you're at the mercy. You're like, oh, let's go out and let's like have a good time and, really like experience the nightlife of the city and stuff like that. And so, I guess you have a bit of both.
Sure. So I had some other questions here I wanted to run through. A lot of them that I asked people, if they had any questions for you, and I'm not going to ask. I'm just going to say, if you guys are interested in knowing anything about what happened with the band, you can Google that shit. So, I mean, it's not hard to find. I'm not going to ask you anything about that. But somebody wanted me to ask you about becoming a metal god, according to MTV2.
Oh my, yeah. When was that? Yeah, I mean, MTV2 was a thing back then. I mean, I think
Headbangers... MTV1 being a thing.
But yeah, all forms of MTV were doing things, but I remember, obviously, MTV2, Headbangers Ball, coming back, and it was really supportive of the metal scene at the time. So it was really cool, like Jamie Josta, obviously, being a leader of that. Yeah. I mean, always helping to push the scene and yeah, the whole like metal gods thing. It's funny. I think we beat Lamb of God or something. And I mean, what's cool about those things is, it's the fans do the voting. It's
sure.
So to see the support from your fans, your fan base, whatever, like just it's so helpful for like. Someone's like, whoa, you were, you won this award. And you're like, yeah, I mean, like the fans voted for it. And like, it shows that our fans support us whenever like we ask them to, whenever we need them, because I guess a lot of people would say, throw that on, like you throw that on your resume as a band, it's like what you've accomplished or like the Grammys or something, like things. I mean, I guess that's not really as fan voted, but there are people in the industry who vote for you, obviously. And so it's like any of those things. It's just recognition of what you do, and it's not necessarily like why you make music, but it helps in the long run. And so I think it's always valuable to make those things, to get the most out of it, I guess.
For sure. Yeah, dude. Why do you think it is that metal gets like no love anymore?
Like from the mainstream?
Yeah, like you said, we used to have shows like Headbangers Ball and stuff like that. Like, why is it that we don't have anything pretty much like? Is it because we have the internet?
Maybe. I think metal fans are the intelligent ones that because they can cram more notes into their brains, and they can listen to a band like Behemoth and like understand it somewhat versus someone who listens to country or pop or any of that stuff and put a band like Behemoth on and they would just be like, what is this is insane. So I think metal fans are pretty much intelligent, and I think one of my theories is that they know that they can get music for free, pretty much. They know that they can torrent music. They know streaming services are available. They're like just more aware of like, okay, I can do this, and this is cheaper. And
I think metal bands take more advantage of Bandcamp than anybody else.
For sure, yeah. Like, and I just you're not as like spoon fed everything, just like maybe a Pop World fan might be, and so. But I don't know. I think it just metal it goes through phases, and it's like it's so united at times, but then it's so divided.
Yeah.
And right now feels like a time that it's sort of divided, maybe because we don't have any of those big summer festivals that bring it all together. I know there's a few like Summer Slaughter and but
what I'm going out to tomorrow I'm going to Psycho Las Vegas.
Yeah, right. Like, that's a not fest. It's just not as often. Like like the Mayhems, the Ozfest, Sounds of the Underground.
Ozfest used to be a tour. Now it's just one day in California.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just, I don't know. Maybe it's just not. I think, say 10 years ago, I don't think a lot of. Either you're a diehard metalhead for life, but a lot of my friends and people I've known, got out of metal. They cut their hair and they listen to, Bon Iver now, and they're like they're like into indie and just like how indie can I get? And I'm like, that sucks because I like bands like that too. I don't just listen to metal, but I still support metal, and I still will always have like this love and appreciation, and I'll always want to like play it and stuff like that. There's just power behind it that makes it. That's what I love about it. But you grow up and your tastes change. And I'm just wondering, like metal was thriving back in 2005. The scene was going pretty strong, and now it's just kind of, I don't know, like things change. A lot of bands get bigger, like a lot of bands die off. Like the oversaturation of so much of like. It's very strange, and I can't like put my finger on it, but I'm still navigating through why it is what it is. But at the end of the day, all you can do is really have control over like what's in front of you.
Right. I hear you. It's just something that why is it that we don't have such a strong scene like we used to have a few years back? And I don't know. Yeah, could be a series of things.
Just with anything, it takes an army. It takes just a lot of. It takes money too. Like clearly,
true.
It's got to be worth people's time to be doing that, and it's just it's tough. You really got to do metal for the passion of it, because you can't expect to necessarily make a career out of it, and there could be a lot of variables that affect once you have that career. Within a day, you could have that career could be gone, and
Sure.
Me having obviously experience with that from
what happened
Sadly Dying. It's just like we had things planned out for the rest of the year. We had a Kill Switch tour, we had just a number of festivals, all these things, and then it's just like,
nope.
Okay, those are gone, and how am I going to pay my mortgage, and how, like, all these things I've built this up to be, and it's like, okay. And it's not like I complain about it, because ultimately, I just have to focus on what's in my control. And so that means that I have to just work and find as many other opportunities as I can to just keep going.
Yeah. But you were smart about it, man. You bought out, you had a venue, right? Like you invested money.
I did. Yeah. I did that for 2 years with, at Brick by Brick in San Diego. Mm-hmm. And I'm very, very grateful for the time that I was there, but it was becoming another thing. And the place is getting, it's still growing, and it's, becoming more successful, but I just found that with what I was passionate about, like I just couldn't stay there, couldn't keep doing it, and so that's why I got out after a while. But like I said, I'm still grateful, because I learned a lot from that experience, and I think that's I've had everyone's got their failures, and I guess you can't call it failures, you can't call them mistakes, but you have these experiences that you don't stick with them, and it's okay when you know that you kind of have to make a change, and for the better. If it's just driving you crazy, it's like I have to get out of this, and maybe there's something else out there that could make me a little happier, and something I'm a little bit more passionate about, and so that's how I view all my shortcomings with whatever I do. But then now lately, before I do anything, I say, am I passionate about this? Do I want to dwell and obsess on this,
Right.
when things go wrong, is it worth it? So I'm a little bit like hesitant, I guess. I guess I've maybe been a little more impulsive in the past, to just be like, yeah, that sounds great, let's do it. And then it just comes back to bite me in the ass because, when things start getting tough, I'm like, man, am I really passionate about this? Do I really want to see this through and keep doing it? And, I constantly like just remind myself of like, before anything you do, anyone who you would go into business with, I really, think that through a little bit more.
Yeah. No, I hear you, man. And I'm experiencing a lot of that recently. I mean, I've been in the beer industry for 7 years, and I'm getting to that point where there's been so many drastic changes in the way it works and the politics of it that I'm just kind of like, man, I don't know. I'm really enjoying this podcast thing. Let's see if I can make that happen.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that you're, when you have free time after work, you're like, I want to do this podcast. I want to, this is something that you're passionate about doing. So like, stick with it. And, everyone's just you got to find your way, and you got to, people hit me up all the time asking, hey, let's start a band, let's do this and that. And I'm just like, that sounds great and all, but we're not teenagers anymore, like,
Right.
Like any free time is valuable time. And it's just like, once you're, I'm 31, once you get older, it's like, starting a band is not an easy thing to do, and then making money off of a new band isn't an easy thing to do. It's a young man's game in a lot of ways, and especially, in the heavy music genre, it's even tougher. So it's I try to be a little bit smarter about it, but I would always want to do music, but I think those days of just thinking like, oh, this is gonna be so big, we're gonna be the biggest band. I never really think that. I see people, bands do that, and I'm just like, you are not realistic. That's good. You have your goals and your dreams, and you're trying to, work hard to make that happen, but you need to be a little realistic about just the nature of the music industry, and especially in the heavy music industry.
No, I hear you. And, it makes me think of this video I saw today. My friend posted of a Navy SEAL talking about how set yourself smaller goals. Like set your first goal of the day should be make your bed, so that when you make your bed and it's easy, you feel accomplished, and then you can want to do another thing,
Exactly. So, I do that. Yeah. I make my bed because, you've done like the easiest thing. You've done one thing once you've made your bed, and just from there, I go make my coffee. I go, just go down the line of things. But and another thing I've realized is to try to plan out my day, like what I'm doing the next day, as opposed to just waking up and it's like, what do I have to do? Like before bed, just thinking like, oh yeah, I want to do this. So when I wake up, I have that list of things. And I used to be terrible with these things. I was just like, when I, became like a touring musician, like at 18 and just, with the success of the band, how fortunate I was, like, oh, I have a guitar tech now. I don't even have to change my strings. I don't even have to do anything but go and play that show. And then I don't have to do anything after. And, I was so lucky to have that, but it's so lazy. And granted, put me in the studio to make an album and I will be one of the hardest working guys, but, I think I feel rewarded just from getting a lot more stuff done, and maybe just having some ambition to do other things. And so just keeping busy, not just sitting there and having idle time, and just, because that's when I start dwelling and obsessing over things that don't benefit me in any way. So I got to keep busy nowadays, and I've realized like that's how it's got to be for me.
Yeah, I think it's important for everyone, and I think if some people listening will be like, "Oh, I can't, but I don't have anything to do to keep me busy. I'm so bored." Well, then change your perspective. Make the everyday things that you do, make those busy things. Like, okay, I need to clean the kitchen. I need to make dinner. I need to do laundry. Like, set them as actual goals, and change your perspective,
Absolutely. I mean, I used to be like a very sloppy guy. My apartment was pretty bad when I was younger, pretty bad. And now when I see clutter around me, I have like a cluttered brain. I'm like, I like things being more neat and orderly and in place. 'Cause then it's less clutter for me to think about. It's just less, I don't know, it just looks nice. Everything's in its right place. And then, my mind's in the right place.
Exactly. It looks better. And also, where your things are. So like hey, I need this one thing, you know exactly where to go,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I feel like I've probably like, I don't know, grown up a little bit. I'd say a lot more in this past year, just realizing what it takes for me to be more at ease. And I like working hard. I mean, a lot of people think like, work sucks, all this, and but it's what makes like I said, my mind more at ease is when I have something to do. When I'm bored, I go crazy, and so I know now I got to just have more things that I got to do, and I have to schedule things. I used to be awful at scheduling. So I'm like, just trying to figure it out. And I think that's growing up. So even though I should have been doing this years ago, I'm getting to it now. I guess it's better late than never.
Yeah. No, look, man, the 30s, like when I turned 30, 31, that's when I realized that everything I have done to this point didn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Like, everything that I did up to this point just kind of got me here. Now I got to keep going, and now I have to organize, and I'm 36 this year in a few months, and things have never been better. Like things are taking off, and my house, I have things in a better situation. I've gone from homeless to living in California in an apartment, like.
Yeah, it's paying off, and it's working. So, and that's such a rewarding feeling.
Yeah, and you got to do it with your company, man. 440, I mean, managing bands, I'm sure it requires a lot of organization and scheduling and all that stuff. So
yeah, like it absolutely does, and it's all things that I feel like I took for granted back in the day with having management and having tour managers and being just that little kid on tour that plays guitar, just like asking the dumb questions of, can we get this on the rider? Can we, like, where's blah, 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 this place? What time do we play? Like, it's funny because now I'm on the other side and I just want to like call up all of my old tour managers, guitar, everyone, and be like, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for the pain I caused you. And, I go through it now and like
the bowl of red M&Ms. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. I was such a diva, but now it's like, it keeps me more grounded and, just more, just chilled out. And it's like I like working because I like making people feel happy. I like making them like when I have to take care of the animals as leaders guys on the road. It's like I want you guys to be at ease because I want you to play the best show possible and not be sweating any of the small stuff. And because I know how it is, like I want you like you expect me to take care of this and this, and everyone expects you to play the best show you can. So. It's that's something that to me it's not really work. It's something that makes me feel it's gratification there that I can make everyone else happy, and if I have a good team of people that I'm working with, and it's like everyone's at the end of the day, everyone had a good day and it was a success, and that's how it should be.
Yeah, man. I feel you. It's something that I've been thinking about a lot lately. It's something that I used to do. I've been doing this kind of unofficially for many years. Like I've done my music thing. I've been in the band and everything, but a lot of times I'd go to a show, or we had a house out in Florida, and if any band was playing a show with us, we would let them stay at the house and we'd provide for them. And that kind of evolved, to if there's a band playing that I know, and I go see them and they put me on the guest list, my whole job there now is to make sure that they get whatever help they need.
Yeah. And it's it's great. It's like a communal, community sort of feeling. Like you opened up your house to bands to come stay there and save the $7,500 from renting a hotel. And I remember those days, and just, I'm just so grateful that that's what it takes to get from point A to point B, is to have people helping you, just all along the way. And, for some people it might be, oh, I got this band staying over at my house and it's like, oh, look at me, I'm cool, whatever. But for the most part, it's when you care about helping people and, you do it.
Yeah.
And it goes a long way.
Yeah. Even recently I went to Warped Tour. Dave Whitty got me in on the list and everything. And, I'm helping him unload his gear and set up his drums and all this shit. And it's like, other people is like, why are you doing that? You don't work for the team. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm here to help out my buddy. He needs to get on stage. I'm going to help him out, make sure he's got whatever he needs. You need water, you need a beer, I got you. I'll go get it for you. You need food, I'll go grab it. So I feel like that's a thing that I've been doing my whole life, and maybe something I should look into, like managing a band. I don't know.
Yeah,
cool.
Man, like that's just, it's so helpful, and it's, it always goes a long way, and it's not hard. Like, sometimes some people are like, hey, let me help out. And it's like, no, don't touch that light. Don't do that. Don't help with that. But it's, you just need help wherever you can get, being a young band, even an old band, just still whatever helps to get you by.
Right. Get you to do what you do best, which is perform and do your music,
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, cool. So we're hitting the hour mark. If 440 management ever starts hiring more managers, let me know.
You got it. You're what was it, the Author and Punisher show in LA? When you're there, you're just like being helpful. I'm like, man, this is great. It's that same thing of just like, that's what it takes, man. It takes just as many people as you can with just who are generous and can offer their time to just help out.
For sure. Closing questions. Are you listening to anything in particular, music new, that you could recommend to anyone?
Music new. Oh man, see, I'm never so prepared for this answer. I just
you were listening just to old records?
I've been to a bunch of shows lately and stuff like that. I mostly listen to classical. I just turn on the classical station when I drive.
Okay.
And that chills me out. Like, when I go to sleep, if I'm traveling a bunch, I listen to Hans Zimmer.
Nice.
Like my mind is just gravitating more towards that because it's so complex, at the same time, but it's it kind of puts my mind at ease as opposed to like listening to metal. But I'm looking at.
You're listening to it all the time too when you're on the shows and stuff. So you want to break from that too.
Oh yeah, exactly. So absolutely, it's like that balance. But I guess for the more heavier stuff, I'm looking at the Drip. I'm looking at a shirt I just got. I think that drummer is awesome. Such fast, like punk beats. Call it whatever, but just really fast. I thought like the Baptist drummer was really fast. This dude from the Drip is really good. So I listened to them. I have to like look at my Spotify and be like, oh yeah, I listened to that the other day. Listen to that. But
Drip sounds interesting. I have never heard of them, so I'll check it out for sure.
Yeah, they're pretty sweet. Car Bomb. The Animals guys have been listening to them, and at first I was kind of like, I just need a little bit more. They're very chuggy, we'll say like Meshuggah ish,
Yeah.
Which is a very, you can't just throw around, oh yeah, they sound like Meshuggah.
No, but they have that vibe for sure. Mixed with a little Tony Danza with the crazy like guitar squeals.
Yeah, but it's very rhythmic overall, and so I'm now like getting more on board, and they're doing that upcoming tour that I'm really stoked to check them out. And then let me. I just saw Gojira open the Metallica concert.
Oh yeah, dude!
And hearing Gojira coming out of a stadium PA was like one of the best things I've seen in a long time. Just power. Just big power, and they killed it. And I was like, that was an incredible show.
Yeah, they're doing a great job, man. They sound so good live. it's actual amps sounding, like it's not going through a PA, like it's coming out of the stage loud,
Yeah, they're a real band, and they've just got that real something special about them. And I always think about like brother guitar player drummer combos, I think like Van Halen, Pantera, Sepultura, Decapitated. I'm like, man, all those bands, there's just something about that brothers guitar drummer, and so yeah, I anyone who's like, I'm not really so much into Gojira, I'm like, I used to be like that too. I used to not get it, but the past few albums, like I'm sold on it.
For sure.
So yeah, see them on an arena tour if you can. And then I love that new Mastodon, obviously.
They just announced another new one.
I saw that, and it's just bizarre. It's crazy, and it's like I'm stoked.
Like, all right.
Yeah, right. But from what I understand, it's a lot of like Brent stuff. So which is going to be pretty noodly, I'm sure. So like Mastodon's always been one of my favorite bands, from a guitar player, just songwriting, everything.
Yeah, their last album was incredible. Definitely up there for me.
Oh, it's my more recent favorite out of like the past 3, I would say.
Yeah.
So they really like hit the mark on this one for me.
Cool, dude. And then for social media plugs, I mean, 440 Management, 440 MGMT, right? Is that the Instagram?
That's the Instagram. I don't really
do anything on it.
Do as much on it, but you could do, just my own personal ones at Phil Sgrosso. And I'm on the Facebook and whatever, but I've kind of chilled out on all the
social media
socials lately. I just I don't even follow like my friends on my personal Instagram. I follow like the bands I work for and stuff, and am in. But I try to like declutter a lot of that stuff, or else I'm just subjected to an overabundance of crap.
Damn. Yeah, I hear you.
To put it lightly, yeah.
It's getting worse for me. It's getting harder, but cool. Poison Headache gonna come back sometime soon.
Got a few songs floating around, and then we'll get to it. Hoping to have something out next year. See what happens with Saosin, and then in the meantime, I'm doing a lot of stuff on the management side with Author and Punisher. I'm going out to Tucson with him tomorrow for the Dead Cross show.
Nice.
And he's got a lot more stuff coming up later this year and next year with his album coming out on Relapse. So it's been cool kind of being involved in the album touring, all the band process with all these other bands, and especially Author and Punisher. It's just him as a one-man show. So I think it's good for him to have someone else bouncing ideas off of him. And
I can't believe he handles all that shit on his own, like the merchandise and setting up, and it's just
Yeah, it goes to show you that he's a hardworking individual who will do whatever it takes, and I think that's how you're going to make it in the music industry, is that you will work hard no matter what. And anytime I hear a musician say that they're lazy or something, I'm like, all right, like,
good luck with that.
Good luck with that. Be grateful that you're really talented at what you're doing, but at the same time, like, things change in life, and I think if you have a good work ethic, that's going to get you, even further than just your talent alone. I mean, think about all the bands out there. Think about the terrible bands out there who are still successful, and it's because they have a good work ethic and they do what it takes, and they don't even need good music. So it goes to show, if you can have both, you can be super talented and you can work hard, that you have a lot working in your favor.
For sure, man. Well, cool, dude. Thanks for taking some time to talk to me today. I really appreciate it. I know we've been trying to do it for a while, and I'm just happy we actually made it happen. So.
Yeah, finally, after months of rescheduling. So thanks for having me on, and this is great.
Awesome, dude. Well, I'll talk to you later. I'm sure we'll see each other soon.
Sounds good.
All right, brother. Take care.
All right, you too.